I'm gonna show you guys, like, I'll set up the height and then show you 3 ways of getting stable.
So we're gonna go over 3 different strategies for tripod.
I'll just kind of show you how I set up the tripod normally. So this is one of the bigger tripods, but I have hunted with this quite a bit. And so the Anvil 30, for a right-handed shooter, it's really intuitive to run with your left hand there. So right away I'm gonna have the center post leg pointed away from me. And what I like to do on a downside hill like this, I open up all the way and go 1 click down. So see how this one's at a steeper angle from those. And what I'll do, it's easier to adjust your tripod down than up once you get down into it. So I'll just give myself some out there, and then I'm gonna sit down just to give me some length. And I'm lining myself up to the target, right? Here's my head. And I know the gun's gonna be up above here, so I'm lining myself up to the target. So I'm holding about where it needs to be. And I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm gonna extend that to the ground. This one's probably gonna need some there, right? You know, I'm already, I can see I'm pretty close there. Like I'm pretty good there. Okay.
That was seconds.
So the first thing that I'm gonna do, to get stable, because you'll see guys just drive it like this and try and get stable and they'll fight it. Like anytime that I can get rear support, whatever that is, I'll use it. There's lots of ways to go about doing it. You try and use your skeletal system to lock yourself out to the ground. So what I'm doing, I've got my heel down on the ground here, and it's off at an angle, but that's still kind of okay. And then I'm using my hand.
So you suck your heel up to lock your leg in.
My heel's all the way to the ground. Yep. And then I'm in here. So my arm, my elbow's up against my knee, pulling in, right? And then I'm gonna run this hand against my leg, almost like it's a rear bag, right? Like if you're running a rear bag, ideally you're running the butt of the rifle and the web of your hand there. I'm just gonna use my knee. Okay? And now,
then if he has to make adjustments on this side when he's setting up, he can flip that over and kind of walk around and move.
And have like maybe 1/2 of wobble there, but it's pretty solid. Okay. So that's one way of doing it. Like setting it up was quick and easy. Another thing I'll do, I'll grab my pack in, and then you got solid stays in your pack here that go all the way to the ground, right? Yeah. Well, you can just pull it in, and now you just work in there.
So you're sucking the bottom of your pack with your heel again?
Yeah, see, the stays are going all the way to the ground, but then my heel is locking it in from sliding downhill. And now look, I'm rock
you got
solid.
A legit bag.
There's nothing moving there.
This is a good thing for hunting in the field and stuff like that.
It is.
So that's like maybe, and anytime you're on top of a tripod, you're still gonna see, like I had maybe like a 1/4 tenth of wobble. There's a little bit of wobble, but a 1/4 tenth is nothing, especially at, what did you say there, 425? The other thing, if you're hunting with a buddy, so if you're hunting with a buddy and you're both been glassing deer all day, then you grab your buddy's tripod. I'll collapse this real quick. Same thing here. I'm gonna run it out. I want a little bit more than that. So now you grab your buddy's tripod, unless your buddy's filming the shot with it with his phone scope or something. But now I've got you use these 3 fingers, you grab onto the leg of the tripod, same thing. The buttstock's gonna run in the web of your hand, right? Now it's not just like focused all on the tripod, just the tripod by itself. Now you have rear support, you're basically prone. And now my wobble's essentially gone.
So you'd say that's probably the most stable.
Yep.
You can lock it.
This is the ideal situation. Like a lot of guys shoot matches and they run tripod rear support. There'll be some other barricade or prop you're shooting off of.
Like today off the fence.
Yeah, like off the fence, and then you run a tripod rear support. Well, in the field, like this is like rock solid. Even if it's only 150 yards, like if you have it available to you, then there's no wobble. It's just like shooting prone. You're on this steep downhill, and it could be as steep as you want, but now you have the ability to build a position that's like a shooting bench.
Gotcha.
Right? With you could either use your body, you could use a tripod or the pack.
I like what you said too, as far as like time wise, and that's what we were having an issue with sometimes. It's a lot easier, it's way faster to extend it than it is to extend it and bring it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if you're like trying to go down, reach down there. That's why, like, and you'll just kind of figure out your height, and how much room you have to play with each leg section. And I just know on a hill this steep, like I'm gonna need a little bit more on that front leg, so I just gave myself some there. And then I left the upper section loose, and you can just eyeball. You know the rifle's gonna run here, and you look at your target, move so where your rifle's gonna interface with the ball head just below the target. Another thing you could do, so I'll throw this out too, like if you don't have ball head like this, the Anvil 30 is a really good shooting ball head. But if you just have a normal ball head for glassing or even a pan head, a lot of guys, if you do carry a shooting bag, will just throw a bag on top. And the nice thing about shooting off a bag, the recoil impulse ends up going straight back. And sometimes if you are clipped into the tripod, the recoil impulse is like that. So if you're solo and you want to be able to see your impacts on your own, the recoil impulse is going to go straight back, so your target's going to stay in the scope.
Stay in the scope.
When on the tripod, it's going to raise up potentially, unless you're really driving it. But especially with like Magnum calibers for hunting, you'll see a lot of guys run off the top of a bag.
Really? Okay.
The one thing too that a lot of people mess up on, especially in targets and whatnot, hunting as a guide, everybody feels like they need to have their power cranked up as far as they can, but you can't. By doing that, you don't see any recoil, you don't see any impacts or anything like that.
No bullet fly.
So
Yeah.
you get lost in everything. And you know, if it is an animal, what's the first thing they do? And they jump and then they bolt.
Yeah.
Unless you drop them right there. So by having it down, like in hunting, I'm generally nothing over like 12, 15.
Yeah.
Just keep it nice and open, so I have a good like 50, 60 yards or whatever, 30 yards on either side of the animal, so I can see what's going to happen immediately, and also see what the reaction of the animal, for one thing, I want to know what happened if I hit it,
Yeah.
and then where it's going to go, and if I did miss, I can make my correction. Or
Look what happens if you only open it this much. There's no room for your body to get between there, right?
Yeah.
But if you open it to the full
All the
open
way
and
out.
then drop it down to one click,
that's a
look
key
how much
thing
room.
right there.
Look how much room you have.
That's a big one.
Because especially if you're going to bring your pack in or something.
And so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you start with that, and then depending on the steepness of the hillside, then you
Farthest away.
you throw it a little bit of, whichever one's, however much you're going to need there, and then you're going to fine tune there, because this is easy to reach. You're not like down
You're
there
not
reaching
down all the way
right?
underneath. So give that a little. Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Can we do it a comparative? Have you do one, set it up, and shoot, and we'll time it, and then have us do it. So then we know what we can like work towards on the off season.
Yeah.
Set, go.
Probably not going to have any wind coming off that mountain. Maybe a little bit right edge. Let's go. Left one plate. Impact.
42 seconds.
Fruit salad.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's good. Set, deploy.
Knowing your equipment is key.
Hands up. No.
It's gonna be on, right?
You're at 42 seconds.
Now I want you square behind the rifle.
There.
Look at your target, Trent.
And that was, yeah.
So I want you to square up, okay? I want this shoulder as far back, so your hips need to come, everything needs to come over here.
So my whole body
Ideally, I want to see your knee touch it.
touching on
Now
that.
you're going skeletal all the way to the ground. You don't want your muscles trying to hold you stable, because they fatigue and wobble. If you can get your skeletal system to the ground, it's going to be far more
And
stable.
there's no spongy with that. It's bone on bone and everything's rock.
Everything's touching and rock solid.
And then your hand's going to open up, web there, and you're going to. That's what I want to see.
But then this has to be on the knee or not?
Not the rifle. You want to use your hand, because you still want to drive it just like you are with a rear bag. The gun shouldn't be riding on the bag. It should be riding in the web of your hand. If you're not right there, then you could just slide it forward and get more height out of it, or slide it back to get less.
Okay.
Right?
There's not a sweet spot as far as like middle of the gun with the
No, if you get solid, then it doesn't matter.
Solid.
Like, you'll see a lot of guys that try and balance at the center of the rifle, but really I think the wobble you induce is less noticeable the further out that your attachment point is, whether it's a bipod or whatever it is.
So think about like on a teeter-totter, you're sitting there when you have a balance point like this, which saying that your tripod mount is back into here and then you're right here, you're way more tip of your platform as your fulcrum is. But if you spread it out and you got your bars out, you have your anchor point here and anchor point here, that tippy part goes away from it.
Time. What do we got?
5:14. You still haven't hit impact.
You're gonna do all this sitting already? Like, are you gonna get in your spot where you're gonna be and then do your tripod manipulation?
So most of the time, like, yeah, whatever. A lot of times, like, we'll be on a glassy knob, and it'll already be set up. It's very the way I shoot off it is very similar to the way I would glass off it. So a lot of times it's already set up, but if I am like stalking there,
I guess I'm more talking matches.
Oh, it matches.
Yeah.
So sometimes if they make you deploy on the clock like today, then yeah, I'm gonna walk up with my tripod in one hand and down the other side of the and I'm gonna start it all standing just like I did here, like opening them up, deploying the first one. Then I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna build all of that front center leg.
There you go. Watch your impact. Left one plate. Come right a full plate. Plate and a half.
Come right.
Yeah, come right.
It hit right where I was aiming.
What's that?
Hit right where I was aiming.
Can I so
That feel
What do I need
stable,
to do?
Trevor?
I need to get this under, huh?
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna talk about your trigger finger now. I'm gonna change the direction.
Yeah, you're sitting there, did a lot
So-
of finger in there.
So yeah, you were getting a whole bunch of trigger, and so like it was almost like you couldn't decide where you wanted it either.
Yeah.
So what? Put your finger in there. Like, let's drop this.
Yeah.
And put your finger in there. And so the way you went normally, and so you were going back and forth and back and forth. Really, you want to be in this digit, right in the center
Right
of the
there?
last digit. Okay. And what happens when if you're over in this neighborhood,
Yeah.
and look at the direction of movement, right? It's like coming at this
Turns.
angle. And so if that moves the buttstock this way at all, what happens to your bullet? It goes that way.
Gotcha.
Right, buttstock goes that way, buttstock goes up, it goes down, right?
Yeah.
And so ideally you want to be in the center of that last digit, and with a loose grip, only put in rearward pressure in the triggers. And a lot of guys call it 90-degree trigger finger wear.
Okay.
Vallejo does that a lot, right? And so if you can direct that directly in line with the bore backwards. Yep. And then like one thing, like good fundamentals is just to pin the trigger to the back wall through recoil. Just
holding
like
it?
Yeah, instead of breaking and like finger coming off. Right?
Okay.
Like
You're
it,
just trying to-
like your follow through.
Is that good placement right there?
Yep. Yep. And then, so what's happening here? You're not driving the buttstock because this is just your trigger finger. This is your support hand. This is what drives the rear of the rifle.
Okay.
And so ideally, if you can't, I'd rather see the knee closer here and then with this hand
Closer here.
and then this hand up. There you go. I'd almost rather see that. I think you're gonna get less.
I need to
wobble
do
that way.
yoga.
But again, if you can't get into that, then there's other options. So look, so now let's try this. Just try
Okay.
this. Okay. So bring this in, get the stays up under it. Yeah, hook it with your heel, and now run it just like a rear bag. And you, if you can, like these rifles have a really nice like a bag rider right here.
Yeah.
And so if you can get the web of your hand to be right in there,
okay.
that's what I want to see there.
Instead of on the.
Not on the bag. I would let it ride on the web of your hand, and use the bag to adjust your height.
Way more stable.
right? Okay. Now this hand, again, don't let go with the index finger. I just want the index finger and thumb making a nice web for that mag rider to ride on. You're gonna hold on to the tripod with these 3 fingers, but don't grip it too hard. Actually, go ahead and grip it really hard and then watch your pulse on the target.
Oh, damn.
You'll see it bounce.
It goes like this.
And then loosen. Then do it again and just loosen everything. And normally you'll see that the
This is
ball
the
will
most
go away.
steady of all 3 for me.
Yeah.
This is legit.
It just, I mean, everything's straight to ground.
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
solid. And this is pretty fast to deploy.
Yeah. You're having very little influence over it with your muscles on with the tripod rear.
Man, we should have tried this.
You know, we should have
You
this
know-
class before the match. Makes more sense.
This is something to use though next week.
Yeah.
Match.
Yes.
Man, that's way better.
Yes.
And
Impact, though.
did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Solid, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. Sweet. Thank you.
What
I
else
really
can you guys
appreciate
teach us? Show us the ways.
No worries over nickels and dimes or a 9-to-5 grind. I gotta get loose sometimes. In trouble.